25 in the Premier League. I'm going over lineups, going over injuries, going over all the good stuff in the Premier League. Here we go. rotowire.com/soccer. That's where you get all our content. Here we go. We're on the site right now. We got Fantrax rankings, we got FPL rankings, and maybe most importantly, we got 1 week until Lionel Messi and Inter Miami take the pitch. Actually, less than a week. That's next Wednesday. But we have a 6-part MLS preview series written by So Rare Deke Matthews. He's got it up to 4 parts. So if you're into MLS, I know this is a Premier League show, but if you're into MLS, we got an MLS preview that's on the site. We're going to be promoting that a little bit here as we get closer to MLS season. But because everyone's here for lineups, let's do this. Reading some comments here. Tony, let's go. MLS is whack. MLS is whack, but we are working. We got the schedule. MLS Fantasy just started up. They just released the game last night, actually. So we do have the cheat sheet up, but it's still, working out some kinks because we don't have odds for one of these games. We're getting those lineups in. We will have lineups in for MLS once we get a little closer, but let me find the FPL cheat sheet. Where is it? We got too much stuff going on. FPL. There we go. FPL cheat sheet, game week 25. As you can see, we got a double game week. Liverpool and Luton Town, Manchester City, and Brentford. Double game week there. I'll talk about that a little bit, but I'm not really going to look at lineups for that next week game. I will talk about, possible rotation for some of those teams, but I guess we can start there. So Brentford home against Liverpool. I don't think Brentford are going to rotate much. This is kind of what they're doing, and they play Liverpool and Manchester City. So 2 difficult games. They're going to stick with the 3-5-2. There's not really any reason for them to rotate. Maybe for one of these games, instead of Maupay, maybe, Jan Visa gets a start. He's coming back from AFCON, so maybe he's going to be in there, kind of a thing. But otherwise, Sergio Reguilón, he's getting pumped up as, this savior here on the left wing for Brentford, because they did just win at Wolverhampton, I believe it was. But otherwise, don't expect too many changes. All these guys are healthy. Jensen, Norgard, Mads Ruslev also been a regular there. I guess we could get Samad Godos back in the 11, maybe for Ruslev for one of these games. Something to check out. Otherwise, I don't think there's going to be a ton of Brentford rotation. Not as much as Liverpool. So we got Connor Bradley back. Connor Bradley missed the last 2 matches for personal reasons, the passing of his father. And then we also got news, I think it was earlier this morning, Trent Alexander-Arnold going to be out for probably the next couple weeks, tweaked his knee a little bit. So he's going to be out. That should mean, assuming Bradley's fit, assuming he's ready to go, it should mean back-to-back starts here for Bradley in both these games. So, if you're playing FPL, he is actually in range to captain, which is a little surprising. That said, I don't think it's guaranteed because we have Robertson back. We also have Tsimikas back, and we have Joe Gomez. So there's a possibility. I have Joe Gomez here. He's going to be back from an illness. Him and Alisson missed last week's game with an illness. We could get Robertson at left back, and we could get Joe Gomez at right back. Those are definitely possibilities. And then we also have Tsimikas here. So something to monitor. Again, a double game week. I wouldn't say it's a guarantee that I don't know. We could be Robertson, Joe Gomez. It could be what I have here, Gomez and Bradley. We'll see how they line up. Maybe as I'm looking over this again, maybe it is more likely we get Robertson and Gomez, but feels wrong to bench Bradley after what he did. So, Tony is asking going Gomez over Robertson. As we look at the next midweek, I did move in. I have Robertson in that one. I don't think we're gonna have Robertson start 2 matches in the matter of 4 days. So that's kind of the main reason. I have Joe Gomez in one and Robertson in another. We know we could be Robertson in this Brentford game, and then Tsimikas actually in the next one. So that would be probably the main question there. Otherwise, in the midfield, there's a chance Salah actually might be on the bench for this one. Cody Gakpo is also an option to start anywhere on the pitch, I guess. He has played in a midfield, more deeper midfield role, also in the front three. He'll probably start one of these games. Not going to give him this one. But this midfield is the same as the last game. Actually, the front three I have the same as the last game because Soboslai probably not ready to return either. But Endo, McAllister, Jones. No surprises there. Again, I think Liverpool is more likely to rotate than a team like Brentford. Maybe not so much to see. We'll get Kwanzaa, Jarrell Kwanzaa in for the second game, something like that. But we could get maybe Gravenberch. We could get Harvey Elliott, Gakpo. So there should be some more rotation for Liverpool. But I'd probably say, okay, we'll get McAllister will start both matches. Jones will start both matches. Probably Darwin, probably Jota. All right. It's kind of hard to say with Gakpo in there. I'd say who's most likely to start both matches of these front three. I'll say Jota most likely to start both, and then Diaz, and then Darwin, I guess. Darwin has had a couple knocks here and there, so maybe he's the least likely. Burnley. Don't expect too much rotation here. They don't have too many guys coming back. Jordan Byer's still out. Delcroix actually started at left back over Vitinho last game. And I have him in again, but Charlie Taylor is expected back, at least on the bench for this one. So I think eventually Charlie Taylor is going to return at left back. Maybe not for this one, but as you can see here, there's just a lot of new faces from what they had in even a month ago. Assignon, Esteve, Aaron Ramsey finally getting minutes. Came over, brothers of Jacob Ramsey came over from Aston Villa, and then David Fofana getting starts. Lyle Foster actually underwent surgery. I think it was this week, so Foster's going to be out, so more minutes for Downey, more minutes for Fofana. Otherwise, not much changes. Arsenal, I got false nine again with Trossard up there between Martinelli and Saka. And then, again, the same midfield, Rice, Odegaard, Havertz. And I don't think we're going to be getting back Zinchenko. Tomiyasu, maybe he's going to be on the bench, but otherwise Kiwior is still in there. Not too many changes to be had there. And same with Nottingham Forest, really. I mean, they're coming off. What are they coming off? I actually forget. Okay, it was a loss. It was a home loss against Newcastle. Took a blank right there. But otherwise, they're not really returning anyone. None of these guys are coming back. The AFCON guys, it was already said. Nuno said none of those AFCON guys are coming back. So pretty much, this is kind of what we're looking at. Nuno. Tavares getting the start over Harry Toffolo. Niakate is preferred to Omo Bamidele on the back line, and Nico Williams is preferred to, I guess Montiel is out. So, and then Yates and Dominguez, they're preferred to Danilo, though we could see Danilo back in here. He'd probably come in. It's kind of hard to say. Maybe he comes in for Dominguez. Maybe he comes in for Yates. That one is kind of hard. Though they also have Kouyaté as an option to play in a more defensive role. But they're home against West Ham, so I don't know if they want that more defensive Kouyaté in here. Otherwise, this front four, I think it's pretty safe that this is what we're going to get. Maybe Gio Reyna comes in. I don't think so. I think Alon, Hudson-Odoi, Wani, Gibbs-White, all these guys have shown enough that they're going to continue to start. West Ham, are we going to get really, I don't think there's any changes. Again, we've only had about 4 or 5 press conferences. We didn't get the Crystal Palace press conference because we won't get one. I don't know if it hasn't been really confirmed, but I'll get there when we get there. But West Ham. So Ben Johnson has been in an attacking role the last couple matches because they don't really have anyone else. I don't think Antonio is going to be ready. We know Paqueta is not ready, but they just don't have anyone else. Calvin Phillips, when they put Calvin Phillips in instead of Ben Johnson, and they had Calvin Phillips, Souček, Edson Alvarez, and JWP, they just didn't look very good. So I still got Ben Johnson in here. They could change things up. I believe Edson Alvarez subbed off at halftime of West Ham's last game, and Calvin Phillips replaced him. I don't know. I still kind of prefer Edson over Calvin Phillips. Maybe that'll change. We'll see. I actually did make a change. Kurt Zuma. I put in Mavropanos in for Kurt Zuma, and he's next to Aguerd. So that is one change I made for West Ham. I think at the end of the day, this might be West Ham's best 2 center backs. I think as we get going here, this might be the preferred center backs for West Ham. Newcastle. Again, Newcastle, one team that just doesn't have a ton of changes, but we do have Callum Wilson probably going to be out for a few months because he needs surgery on a pectoral injury. So there's another injury. Don't believe Isak's going to be back. So Kellen Wilson's out. We know Joelinton's out. We could get Jacob Murphy back. He didn't feel, I think it was his calf in the game before, in last week's game. So he missed that squad. I don't know if we're going to get Joe Willock back, but he's not going to be ready to start. So that means Harvey Barnes is getting his first start in, I don't know, has he even gotten a league start this season? There's a chance Harvey Barnes actually didn't get a league start this season. Let me click into his profile here. Okay, he has a couple starts. He got injured in one of his starts. That's why. So the front three will look like Harvey Barnes on the left, Almiron on the right, Anthony Gordon kind of playing as the central starker, but he's going to be moving around a bunch. Otherwise, no changes here. Again, maybe eventually we'll get Livermento in for Dan Byrne, but I don't think Eddie Howe is there yet. Bournemouth, I didn't make any changes here, but I think that it's not guaranteed Sinistera starts with Semenyo back. And I don't think it's guaranteed that we're going to get Alex Scott in this role because Justin Kluivert is an option to start there. And they haven't really looked great the last couple matches just in terms of how they're playing together. Kirkes came on for Lloyd Kelly, I think, after 45 in that last game. So something to keep an eye on. At this point, whoever starts, it doesn't seem like whoever starts at left back, they went from having no left backs to suddenly playing, okay, they have two left backs and you don't know who's going to go. It's almost like the Luca Digne and Alex Moreno situation at Aston Villa. You're probably not going to get more than, 70 minutes from whoever starts at left back from Bournemouth. At least that's what it seems like. Again, depending on the game situation. Milos Kirkes, a little more attacking. Lloyd Kelly, a little more of a actual center back there. Tottenham made a couple changes here. I guess we could see Basuma in for someone. We could see Basuma in for Pape Sarr. That is kind of one of the questions here. What happens? Because if we remember, Rodrigo Benker wasn't really healthy at the beginning of the season. So we haven't really had a healthy Sarr, Basuma, and Rodrigo at the same time this season. So that will be one question. We could get Basuma back in 11. I think when we get to it, when he's fit and completely ready, I think we'll get Rodrigo Bentancur and Basuma in those defensive midfield role. I got Son back in the 11. I think he's going to take the spot of Timo Werner. I believe Werner started last week. And then I also put in Brennan Johnson over Kulusevski. So Son, Madison. So it seems like we're going to have Madison and Richarlison starting every match, though we could also get Son playing in that more of the central attacking role because he did that earlier in the season. This is going to be one that's kind of unpredictable. Maybe we'll get a sense of it. Maybe we'll get a sense of what Postecoglou wants to do in terms of matchups. But for this one, I did rotate in Son and Brendan Johnson with Kulusevski and Werner on the bench. Wolverhampton, we could see Hechan back in the starting 11. He would actually take the place of Cunha. Cunha is going to be out for some time, hamstring injury, so he's out at least a month. So that isn't helpful. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much the same. That's going to be the main question. So basically, from the front three in Wolverhampton, we got the questions of, okay, we know Pedro Neto is going to start. Probably Sarabia is going to start, and then it's going to be probably Bellegarde, or Huang in the starting 11. I just think coming back from the Asian Cup, coming back from a minor calf issue, I think Hechan will come off the bench in this one. It wouldn't be surprising if Tottenham score one or two goals or they're up or something in the first half if we get like a Hechan comes on at halftime for Bellegarde, something like that, to give him a little bit of a spark. But I think eventually, Hechan is going to be the regular starter over Bellegarde going forward. Fulham, I did make a change here. So Alex Iwobi is available again, coming back from AFCON. We'll get a quote from Marco Silva tomorrow, Friday morning. But sorry, I'm just reading a comment. Is there a muscle injury for Pedro Porro? Let me just double check this. Did he come out? Is that new? He went the full 90. Did we miss that? Sorry. Let me check on this. Okay, yeah, I guess that was some news today. So missed training today. So something to keep an eye on. So as we saw, let me click into Pedro Porro. They moved so it's going to be, I guess we're going to need some more updates. So Postecoglou's press conference is Friday morning. So, okay, yeah, definitely some chatter. Thank you, Frog Taga. Yeah, so I guess if he missed training Thursday, rumor that he missed training, maybe not maybe not 100% that he's going to start here. So let's just say we're in the 60-40 range. If he doesn't start, we'll go to probably Emerson will be in that role. So at least they actually have a right back here to take the spot of Poro. So something to monitor, but we will. Let me think about Postacoglu. When is that press conference? I think he usually talks. I'd have to look this up, but I think he usually talks around 9 a.m. Eastern. Postacoglu. So you may, if you're playing So Rare, you may get that Pedro Porro update before that 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. Eastern cutoff. So I believe that's usually when he talks for his press conferences. Back to Fulham. I got Alex Iwobi back in the starting 11 for Fulham just because I think overall Fulham played better with Iwobi. Kind of been saying that. It kind of shows in the results, and I've been kind of saying that all season. Muniz coming off a pretty good result, so he stays in there over Broha. Willian, Andres Pereira, Kearney back in the starting 11 for Harrison Reed last game. And then I guess we did get Tosin was dropped last week for Diop just because of an injury. They do get Kelvin Bassey back. Again, we're going to hear from Marco Silva at some point on Friday, but I doubt Kelvin Bassey will move immediately back in the starting 11 for Tim Reed or Issa Diop. I doubt it. Aston Villa, tough news for them. Another injury. So they just lost. They lost Boubacar Kamara basically for the whole season. He's really their only true defensive midfielder. So that's pretty much a massive blow. They loaned out Den Donker, so they don't have Den Donker really to take any minutes. They also lost in training. Was it today or yesterday? Diego Carlos went down. But they do have Pau Torres available again. So Pau Torres probably going to be back in the starting 11. Alex Moreno. I guess we have the question of maybe Luca Dina starts stealing some starts from Alex Moreno. That is a possibility. But if we remember end of last season, Unai Emery did favor Moreno over Dina. We'll see how the next couple months go. But I'll lean with Alex Moreno here again in a situation where it's gonna be like, okay, Moreno 70 minutes, and then you're gonna get Dina for the final 20, or Dina for 60, 70 minutes, and then Moreno for the final 20, something like that. Otherwise, so McGinn gonna move into a more central role next to Douglas Luiz. We also have Tielemans moving back into Tielemans can also play a little more defensive, so it could be. We could see Unai Emery. It's kind of a mix and match here, but 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2, maybe 4-3-3 kind of a thing. But I moved Tielemans into the 11 without Kamara. He could play a little further back than this, and then Diaby hasn't really been starting too much. Bailey in here, Ramsey in here, Zaniolo also an option as well. I think that's what we got there. Manchester City home against Chelsea. So what do we got here? I guess I did have. When was I talking? I did originally have De Bruyne resting, but I think they play. I think Pep goes with De Bruyne home against Chelsea. I think this is granted against Brentford isn't an easy game, but I think he kind of wants this Chelsea game. That last one was 4-4. Start De Bruyne off from the start. I'd say we get, let's say, 75 minutes from De Bruyne in this game, and then maybe he comes off the bench and 30-40 against Brentford, something like that. So we're still getting 110, 120 minutes from De Bruyne in these two matches. I just don't think he's going to start both these matches. We saw there was a week between games earlier, I believe, or maybe that was a midweek game where he didn't start one of those games. So Alvarez back in the 11. He didn't start midweek. I think we're going to get 2 starts from Haaland. I don't know if Foden's guaranteed for 2 starts, but I'll say 2 starts. He did pick up a minor knock in Tuesday's game. Vardiol's out, so that's good news for Ake, I'd say. Kanji maybe back in the 11 for this. Give John Stones a rest because he's been injured a lot. Kyle Walker. We know Rodri probably going to get 2 starts. Alvarez probably 2 starts. Doku, I guess we'll see what the injury status is on Bernardo Silva, because that will kind of depend on some of these other guys. Maybe a guy like Doku. I say Doku 1 start, maybe Doku's looking at 100, 110 minutes kind of a thing. So there are obviously rotation questions with Manchester City, and it's kind of hard to just trying to go really fast here, trying to get all these players. KDB went the whole 90 in Champions League. I just don't think he's rested in this game. I think Pep would rather KDB come off the bench against Brentford, but I could be wrong. I mean, obviously, you can't really project what Pep's going to do. So I'll say about 70 or so against Chelsea. And then, we're just looking too far ahead in the future. But again, I'll go with, okay, we'll get about 120 minutes from KDB. Let's say that. And 120 minutes and 2 home matches from KDB, like, I honestly don't think you have to worry about anything in terms of captaining him, in terms of playing at So Rare or wherever. You just don't worry about it. He almost looks like better than, I don't know. I don't want to say better than last season because he's obviously always been one of the better players in the world, but he looks really good since returning from injury. Chelsea. So I moved Nicholas Jackson out of the 11 to get Nkuku in. We could get Nicholas Jackson in maybe instead of Sterling. So that would be one of the questions. But I think that, they stick with Caicedo, they stick with Enzo, they stick with Gallagher, they stick with Palmer. I really think Nkuku comes back in. He hasn't started. I don't believe he started the last 2. I don't think Sterling started the last game either. Madueke started that one, went off after 45, didn't really look very good. Then the change in the back line is, so we got an injury to Thiago Silva, so that moves in Levi Colwill to center back next to Disasi because Badiashile is out. So we got Chilwell and Gusto still there. So probably the question will be, I think Nkuku starts. So maybe the question will be, is it going to be Sterling or is it going to be Nicholas Jackson? I think that's going to be the main question there for Chelsea. Sheffield United, we should get Ivo Gerbic back into the 11 to take over Fotheringham, though they did win. So maybe Chris Wilder's like, actually, we got the win, so we're going to go Fotheringham again. But Gerbic was out with a concussion. Max Lowe also getting the start. He came on for Norrington Davies in the last game. Also, Austin Trusty was benched for Jack Robinson, I believe, returned to the 11. Again, we'll get the status on someone like Brereton Diaz. I think Brereton Diaz or Ben Osborne will start on this left wing. But again, because they won at Luton Town last game, I don't think there's going to be a rotation. Sheffield United, get the 3 points. Keep your lineup. Keep what works. I think that's what happens here. So like maybe I'll say 50-50 that if you're really wondering about Fotheringham, 50-50 is what I'll say, though. It really seems like Ivo Gerbic is the preferred option based off the quotes I've heard from Chris Wilder. Brighton, I think Tariq Lamptey's fine, but again, not guaranteed. We got the news of Hinshaw Wood being out. I did put Ansu Fati back into 11 because João Pedro's out. Ansu Fati came off the bench last game, came on for Adam Lallana, who picked up a knock himself. Though the one news here, again, we'll get an update from De Zerbi probably Friday. Adingra coming back from AFCON. I believe he's back with Brighton, but again, it's just one of the situations. He got the 2 assists in the AFCON final, coming back from however many games he played in the African Cup of Nations. So is he just going to be thrown back into the starting 11? I think Ansu Fati gets to start here, and then Adingra comes off the bench. I think those are the main questions. Yeah, Stupinian, and then Lamptey at fullback there. Luton Town, another double game week team here. So I didn't make any changes. We could see Jordan Clark move over 11 for Tahith Chong, for Andros Townsend. We could see, because of the double game week, maybe Luton Town mix up something on their wing. Maybe Issa Kabore comes on for Agbene on the right wing, and then Agbene moves in for Jordan Clark, something like that. But overall, I don't think Luton Town do too many changes. I think now that Mengi is healthy, he's going to be preferred to Reece Burke on the back line. But just Luton Town is a team that doesn't rotate a ton. Then again, as you can see here, there's only 3 days between these games. So maybe you play it a little differently. But like, how much do you want to rotate for a trip to Liverpool? You probably don't want to rotate for a trip to Liverpool, is what I'll say. Manchester United, I think Luke Shaw is good to go. He should be in there. If he's not, because of their injuries, we're going to be getting all right, sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. Lindelof would probably start at left back. He's done that a couple times. Diego Dalot. Otherwise, no changes. Nothing else to say about Manchester United. They've had success. They've been playing a little better. So no changes here, assuming Luke Shaw is ready to start. Getting a question about Konate ready to start. Yeah, Konate is good to go. He was suspended for the last game. So the question will be, is he going to start 2 matches? Because he has had injury issues. He has been dropped a couple times, but as we saw, I think it was here at home against Chelsea at Arsenal, he started twice in the matter of 4 or 5 days there. So Konate probably going to start both these games. It was earlier in the season. He wasn't starting both games because of some injury issues, but I think he's healthy now, and he was suspended in that last one. So I think that Konate is going to be good to go here. Is he going to start both games? I'll say about 75% that Konate starts both games. How about that? What do we got? We got one more game, right? Let's go back here. Everton, Crystal Palace. Everton, I got Amadou Onana back in the starting 11. So this is like a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. Onana takes a spot at Ashley Young, assuming Onana is ready to go. Onana next to Gay, and then also assuming Seamus Coleman is good to go, because he's come off the bench the last couple matches. I think eventually he's preferred to Ben Godfrey. Ben Godfrey, who I think threw up on the pitch last weekend, deal with an illness. So I guess we could see, those are the main questions. Okay, is Godfrey going to start over Coleman again? Maybe. I'd say we're about a 50-50 spot right here, but I think Coleman is still the preferred right back when healthy. He's been back for a couple weeks, so he is healthy. Is Onana ready to start? That is a question, but I know Deitch has changed things up a couple times this season, but I think, when at full strength, you start Gay and Onana next to each other. And then James Garner is a little more forward than them. Crystal Palace. All right, so what are we going to do with them? I don't think we got confirmation yet that Roy Hodgson is out. So it's just kind of weird that – so they played on Monday. Roy Hodgson rumors start on Thursday. He's ill, but now he's fine. And I've seen rumors that Glasner has already signed on for them. So is Hodgson going to be – is he going to get the boot on Friday, like 2 days before their next match? Maybe. So looking at my lineup here, pretty much the same as what they had. I guess we're not even going to get a Will Hughes update. He played 10 minutes after getting a knock to his ankle. I think he's fine. Otherwise, França, Ayew, Mateta, Edouard also an option. Schlupp an option as well. Adam Morton, I think he was Crystal Palace's man of the match in their game against Chelsea. So the thing here is, let's say Glasner, he's their manager Friday. Is he actually going to come in and change? Glasner's preferred formation is like a 3-4-3, 3-4-2-1. Is he actually going to come in and change things up in like 48 hours before their next game? I don't know. So I'm just going to stick with this 4-3-3 kind of thing. We'll see. I mean, granted, it hasn't really been working. And does he even have a team to play like the 4-3-2-1 style that he used at Frankfurt kind of thing? We'll see what happens in the next few days. But sticking with this 4-3-3, there's not too much that Crystal Palace can do when we get to it. Ahamada and Ozo have seen more minutes this season because of injuries, but I don't know if either one of them are getting a start here. Again, I kind of mentioned Manchester City, Brentford, Liverpool, Luton Town, double game weeks. That's all I got. That's all we got. Under 30 minutes. Heck yeah. Any questions here? Let me know. Thank you, everyone, for one of my core plays. Derek is asking one of my core plays. I don't know. What are we talking about here? We talking FPL? So rare? I don't know. Are we talking, DraftKings slate? I don't know. I'll give you 30 seconds to reply to that question. I don't know what game you're talking about for core plays, but rotowire.com/soccer trial. That is a 48-hour trial to get this cheat sheet, FPL cheat sheet. And again, we are going to have MLS Fantasy cheat sheet. That'll be up hopefully Monday. It'll look a little better than it currently does because we still don't have odds for one of these games, and we'll get some projected lineups out. All right, Derek, you got 10 seconds left to verify what game we're talking about here. My core plays will be a Mike captain. I'm going to add Connor Bradley in FPL. Mike captain him. Definitely will look at all these double game weeks for Manchester City, Liverpool. And I think this is a good spot for Tottenham to get goals. I think this is a good spot for Fulham to get goals. I think it's a good spot for Nottingham Forest to rack up opportunities. So a couple underdog plays there, a couple underdog plays for everyone. I know, saying Manchester City and Liverpool are going to be the best plays is, as Tony says, very bold. But thank you everyone for watching. Find RotoWire Soccer at RotoWire Soccer on Twitter. Find me at Roto Zdroik on Twitter as well. Thank you for watching. See everyone next week. Game week 26. Watch our betting show. Watch our DFS show. RotoWire.com/soccer.